Oh right, yeah. This is this is that guy from the clips that he's always in the compilation. Well, he's in the compilations where he tried to tone police Jesse. What we're not going to do when Jesse says something crazy, and he said, "What we're not going to do." It's that guy, which I think Jesse is probably the worst person you can ever try and tone police. But yeah, um, I think really I've only ever it's always that clip of whatever Jesse says. I can't even remember what he says, but I remember Matey's reaction. So yeah, this should be a good one. Let's go.
And I forgot to mention that you're also a member of Black Lives Matter.
Yes,
You're a member.
yes, I'm
How
part of
long
the
have you
research
been a
team.
member of Black Lives Matter?
I've been a member of BLM since 2014.
Oh, really? What made you decide to become a member?
Well, I think the issue, right, is it's important for people to stand up and fight for their own lives, right? You know, to work to protect, right, like what is most sacred to them, which is their right to exist.
Right.
So for me, right, that was certainly important. I think also being directly impacted by law enforcement and law enforcement mistreatment definitely also encouraged me to be a part.
Oh, okay. And did you know that Black Lives Matter was an organization that was founded by a bunch of fat black lesbians
Oh yeah,
who
that's
hate
what he
God,
said.
who hate the family, order of the family, who hate the unborn child, and they admitted, at least one of them, that they're a Marxist group and they've been trained to do what they're doing. Did you know it was founded by some fat black lesbians?
Wow. So okay. So first of all,
Did you know that?
what we're not going to do is insult folks, right?
Well,
So
they claim to be lesbians and they fat and they're black. I didn't do it.
so
But did you know that it was founded by them?
I didn't do it.
well, yes, but also too, like I said, we're not going to insult them. That's not cool, right? So don't do that again.
Would they consider that an insult?
Yes.
Why would they claim to be that? Why would they consider it
Well,
an insult?
time out, time
I've
out.
interviewed them.
So again, like I said, like we're not going to talk about them like that.
But you knew it was founded by them, right? Before
Yes,
you
yes,
joined?
I personally know them, right? So we're going to stop that part
And you
because
knew
that's
that
not
before
okay.
they joined. What made you join knowing that? Because normally men don't follow women like that. What made you do it?
Well, so I want to touch on a couple of points that you brought up,
All right?
right? So first off, right, like I think, well, you're a working man, right? You have
Yes.
people who work here.
Yes.
Do you know why you get weekends off, or why people have weekends off?
Right.
I'm
Supposedly
asking
to
you now.
rest. To
Huh?
rest. Supposedly to rest.
Oh,
And
so
reflect and, take care of things around the house.
okay, cool. And I'm assuming that people typically might work, you for full time folks, 8 hour work days.
Some of them. The lazy ones don't, but
Yeah, right.
no, I'm
So
kidding.
that right. So where do you think that the idea that people should get time off and that the workday shouldn't go on for 12 and 14 hours? Where did it come from?
I don't know,
Black
but it's
Lives
a bad
Matter.
idea.
Is it?
They need to work 24 hours a day. I want to make them slaves.
Wow.
But somebody came up, probably some stupid union or something.
Whoa.
But
Okay. So time out, right? So you said somebody founded some union.
I said probably some stupid union came up with that idea.
Well, so again, so I think the challenge, right, is that those like having a day off or having days off, right, like and having 8 hour work days is ideas informed by Marxism, right? The Communist Manifesto specifically speaks to the worker. That was created, right, like, and that is what led to the creation of unions that protect people's labor. So I wouldn't necessarily frame it or frame that as a bad thing because I think most of your viewers kind of enjoy their days off. So they have Marxists to thank for that. So I just want to
Are
let you
you a
know.
Marxist?
Marxism. I
I'm
wondered where
Marxist.
he's.
I think what I am, right, is I'm somebody committed to.
I like the bit that he picked out of Jesse's to complain about was not that he called them fat black lesbians, was that he called them Marxists. Like that was his thingy. What we're not gonna do.
Liberation of oppressed peoples globally.
Are you a capitalist or a Marxist?
I'm definitely not a capitalist, no.
Are you a Marxist?
I think what I am is I'm somebody committed to the liberation of oppressed
But I'm
peoples.
asking you, are you a Marxist?
Again, like I said, it's not that simple. If you've read
Are you
some,
a socialist?
Have you read Cedric Robinson's Black Marxism?
No. Well,
No.
I'm
Well,
just trying
I'd
to find
encourage you
out
to
about
read it.
you. Are you a socialist or a Marxist? I think they're both pretty much the same, but which one are you?
What I am is I'm somebody dedicated to the liberation of all oppressed peoples.
And so you're not a capitalist, right?
No.
So you don't believe in earning your way and getting paid for your earning?
Well, I think the broader issue, right, is that people assume that that isn't in socialism, or people assume that that isn't in right like other economic forms of being when that's not the case. People work not only to earn their wage, but also too to earn their way into the community,
But not
right?
socialist people.
Well,
They are controlled by others.
time out. How about you define what you think socialism is?
It's people who want to control other people.
Okay, and where did you hear that from?
Common sense. 'Cause when you look around, that's what
Time
they
out, time
do.
out. Is that common sense,
Yes.
or did you read it from
No,
somewhere?
it's common sense. I'm looking. I've been in the world for a while now, and I see how. I remember when the blacks were not controlled. I was born in Alabama on a plantation, and black people used to get married. They thought and did for themselves. They were not controlled by government because I didn't even know about welfare because blacks were not into that. They didn't have black leaders. They didn't accept all
When
this.
were you born?
They didn't accept all
What
this
year were you born?
wrongdoing. Uh,
Hold on.
the missile.
Because going to this, I probably, well, not probably, I 100% was at one point. I know Marxist things like that was me till very, very recently, where now I have a complete, more centralized um, view of things. But I used to be full Marxist, full Che Guevara. Um, but essentially, because people say socialism and communism aren't the same thing. It's like one goes follows hand in hand with the other one. Um, but basically, the fundamental difference between socialism and communism: socialism, some people get to have private property, and communism, no one does. Right? That's the difference, basically. And like in our country, I think there's a big and has been for years that very far left, like I was that. Like I believed in it and looked at the world through oppressor. Like rich people are the oppressor, and everyone else is the oppressed, and all of that shit. Um, and I can kind of see still why today that people in the UK are. Capitalism has like I something I saw Charlie Kirk talking about was that Charlie Kirk was and that kind of Republican movement is pushing to make America not a renter state, which is exactly what we are. Like every you cannot rent a house. It's absolutely impossible unless you're rich to rent a house in the UK because people own hundreds of houses. Rich people just bought up every house and rent them out for extortionate amounts, and most of the time they just sit there empty. It's like you can see where a culture that is completely built on that, like there should have been, which again goes against kind of capitalist and the free market thing, but the Republicans are kind of in America are kind of fighting against becoming a renter thing, and you don't understand Americans how important that is because that's what we live in. We live in a complete renter thing, or you get a council house, and most people just have to get a council house because they can't. No, like you need 50 grand. The average person is probably not going to have 50 grand together in one bunch throughout their whole lifetime in the UK. So you can see where there is no like real opportunity to get a house and have any type of security in the UK where that breeds Marxist and communist ideology. But I wish Jesse would have stayed on the socialist thing a bit more because, like I say, I actually till very very recently, like even up to when Jeremy Corbyn, I was a big supporter of Jeremy Corbyn when he was running. Um, but it was around about that time that I stopped thinking like that.
Now 49, I think.
Oh, you was born in 1949.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
so
let me just make this point though, because of time.
okay.
And so blacks were individuals. They thought and did for themselves. They looked out for others when time of need at the right time. But when the so-called civil rights movement started, black people sold their lives over to the so-called black leaders and then the government. And now they are like groups and they are being controlled by the government and by other people who are insecure and they need a sense of security, so they keep blacks down in order to control them. But I want to know
And
what made, as a man, what
what
made you decide to
what
follow Black Lives Matter? Because
what
normally men don't follow women, especially radical women.
well before I go there, you had mentioned that in this transition in civil rights, or how you framed it, you had mentioned that that at some point black folks were self sufficient, and because of civil rights stopped being self sufficient.
Yes. First of all,
So
there's no such thing as civil rights, but they sold themselves over to
okay,
that,
okay.
so-called movement.
Hold on. So I think the challenge, and you had also said at a certain point that people didn't receive welfare, right?
Right.
That people didn't receive it.
Never heard of it till I moved to the city.
Okay, so look, so now let's take those ideas and let's dive a little bit deeper.
Real fast
Right.
because we run out of time. We have some more guests coming up. But I'm enjoying talking to you.
Okay, well again,
I want to know what made you, as a male, decide to follow a bunch of radical women.
well I think
Now that's not normal. What
well
made you decide to do it? What
well
made you
well
decide to do it?
I think the issue isn't whether or not like men can follow women's leadership. I know I can because women can lead and women can do a damn good job leading.
So were they created to lead or follow?
Women were created to be full human beings.
Were they created to lead or to follow?
That women were created to be full human beings.
How about were they created to lead?
Again, you're doing that thing where
Neither man nor woman is created to be a full human being. That's the whole point of what the marriage thing is the two separate things that have different natural gifts, if you want, come together and make a connection, a whole union. Um, but neither man nor woman by themselves is made to be a complete human.
saying
Because you're not answering my question. You're a really smart guy. You get your doctoral.
yeah,
You're a smart guy from UC Berkeley. So I'm asking you, were women created to lead or to follow?
women were created to be full human beings.
I
That's my
didn't ask
answer.
that question though.
But that's my answer.
How you going to get a good grade up at UC Berkeley? You can't answer a simple question.
Well, I think as somebody who is a researcher, the answer is never directly in right. Like the question the question itself is the problem. So that's why I'm giving you a different
What's the
answer.
problem with that question?
Because the answer would then assume that we're like, well, if I say that, well, women are meant to follow, right, then that means that women are somehow incredibly subservient. That is not the case at
So
all.
even if it's true, you can't say it.
No, it's not true.
Well, if it's true, could you say it?
No, it's not true.
No, I didn't ask you if it was true or not. I said if it was true, would you be able to say the truth?
Well, but that's not true.
I didn't ask you. I'm asking you, would you be able to say yes, the truth to that if it was true?
Well, I'm not going to answer a hypothetical question because that's not true.
Amazing. So do you believe that Black Lives Matter?
I do.
What does that mean?
Black Lives Matter means that black people and their full humanity, right, their lives should not be harmed or stolen by state-sanctioned violence.
Who does it matter to?
Black lives should matter not only to us, but to everybody.
Not sure, but who does it matter to?
Black lives matter to everyone. And
Like who?
everybody.
Like who, for example?
Everybody who's a contact in your phone, all the people here, whether we're talking about the state, whether we're talking about the government, whether we're talking about the police, whether we're talking about people in our
Does
community.
Black Lives matter to black people?
Absolutely.
Why are they killing each other?
So to get to that point, I think, right, like when you talk about issues, especially of intra-communal violence, right, people kill who they're next to. Like people don't just go out and kill somebody because I'm killing you because you're black. right? Like when people commit harm, when people commit violent acts, it's oftentimes in retaliation to something or it was for a specific reason, right? And then when that happens, those people are then, put through the criminal justice system and prosecuted for it,
So black
right? So
lives
time out,
only
time out, time
matter
out, time
if
out,
it
time out. I'm not done
black
talking.
black
I'm
lives
not done.
only matter if it's
I'm not done.
traditional.
I think he's because it isn't quite this like in America. That is, yeah, it's always true that races by percentages kill each other. Like white people kill white people more often than anybody else. Black people kill black people, but it's the number. And I say it's not everywhere though. Like not in our country, but then we don't have as big a pop. I think like the population of black people in the UK is like 4% or something, whereas in America it's like between 13 and 16, I think. But yeah, especially in Black America, it's the proportion. Like what he's saying is fundamentally true. You do kill who's next to you. Ultimately, people kill people, and they do typically kill the people near them. It doesn't typically tend to be race going after race ever. Yeah, but definitely in Black America, since throughout my whole life, like I grew up as a massive hip hop fan throughout the whole of my life. You hit like depending on which way you put the argument that hip hop is, I would say hip hop, maybe drill. You can argue is a bit more responsible for the um, violence across the whole of the Western world, but hip hop in itself is more of a reflection of it's talking of that violence in black community. Like it's always been there. What did Tupac say? Before we find world peace, we have to find peace in the war in the streets. Ghetto gospel. But yeah, let's go.
I'm not done talking, right? There are community organizations that have been fighting back against that type of violence for a very long time. Let's say, for example, here in Los Angeles, we have an organization like Second Call that was working that's been working right to make sure that gangs don't have beef with each other. They work on ceasefires between neighborhoods that have been, working or that have been right like at war for years, right? So there are organizations that are doing the work to stop the intracommunal violence. So Black lives have always mattered to Black people. Organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade, organizations.
But because of time, do black lives matter to those black people who are killing other little black children?
Yes, like
You
Black
said
lives.
yes, it matter.
Yes, Black lives matter to
Well,
Black
why are they
people.
killing those children then?
Again, right, like what you're missing in this broader thing is that again intracommunal violence is a broader challenge, right, like that we have worked on internally in our communities for years, right? Like people never ask those questions when white folks kill 85% of white people. That's not called white on white crime.
Does black lives matter enough to black people that they will encourage two parents in a home?
I think Black lives matter enough to Black people to where it doesn't matter what kind of parents we have in the home.
But do they
That
encourage? Do black lives matter enough for black people to encourage two parents in the home?
I think Black lives matter enough to Black people to where we want to make sure that we build a better world for Black children.
Do white lives matter?
I think yeah, like nobody would ever say that they didn't.
But do they?
Yeah,
Okay. Do black lives matter when it comes to the unborn child or unborn children? Because there's 70% of parents Planned abortion mills in the inner cities, and they're killing black babies like 90 going north in the womb. Do those Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter people and other blacks?
well, what about the mother? Because abortions are about the mother and the decision that that mother makes, right, about what's happening with her.
But I'm
Like
asking you, do those Black Lives Matter to black people,
the Black lives that matter to Black people are the Black lives that are currently existing.
but not those in the womb?
The Black lives. Well, so all right. Look, you want to talk about what's going on in the womb? Let's go there. What's going? Why is it that Black mothers don't have access to maternal care? Why is it that Black mothers, when their kids are born, right, they go to hospitals and they don't have access to the resources? Serena Williams, right, who is a famous tennis player, almost died giving birth to her child, and she is a rich athlete, right? So before I stop, right? Like again, yes, black kids in the womb matter to black folks, but the issue is that systems continuously treat us bad, right? So regardless whether we're talking about abortions or even if we're talking about going through to give birth, right? Like kids are coming into this world in a racist environment. So
Amazing.
before I answer that question about yes, do people do black kids matter in the womb? Yes, they do matter, and yes, black kids do matter in the
But
womb,
not to Black
right?
Lives Matter. They don't care about that. They
Well,
made it clear they don't care about abortion.
well, no, no, no,
They're
no,
in
no, no,
favor
no, no,
of
no, no,
it.
no, 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 no,
They're
no,
in favor of
no, no, no.
abortion.
Talking about Black Lives Matter is in favor of black women having autonomy over their bodies. That is a very different framing than saying that Black Lives Matter doesn't care about that. Because what we do know is that people get abortions for very different reasons. People don't just get abortions
Do you
because they want
support
an abortion.
abortion?
I support women making the healthiest choice for
How
themselves.
about abortion?
If an abortion is that, then yes.
Do you support same-sex marriage?
Yes, people should be allowed to get married to whoever they want to.
Amazing. That's mind blowing. Isn't that like amazing? You gotta admit that amazing, right?
What?
Being a Christian, you would support all that.
Well, so Jesus loved poor people. Jesus publicly defended.
He loved them enough not to kill them in the womb,
Jesus also loved a prostitute enough to defend her in public.
right? But not to kill her.
Yeah, and he stopped people from killing her, a
But you
prostitute
guys
in
are not
public.
stopping them from killing them in the womb.
Well, we're trying to stop people from killing us in regular life.
But not in the womb.
So again, right? Like, I think the broader issue that you're trying to bring up and that you're trying to provoke is this idea that for some odd reason that to Black Lives Matter, the broader network or the organization, that other segments of black folks and black lives like don't matter to them because we only care about police violence. I think that's what you're doing.
If black
So
men and women
stop.
got
Hold on,
married,
hold on, hold
would
on,
they
hold
have
on,
to
hold on, hold on,
have
hold on, hold on,
kill the
hold on, hold
baby?
on, hold on, hold on, hold on for 1 second. I think the issue is that you're only thinking of this organization, and that since this organization isn't addressing all of those other things, right? Like that for some reason, right? Like that, like they don't think Black lives actually matter. Understand that Black people, Black communities, and other Black organizations have been addressing all of these same issues, right? Like for decades. There is a work group right now here in LA County, led by a woman named Adoja, that's focused specifically on African American maternal health,
Amazing.
right? Like and
Let me
and,
just say,
and
because of time, I'm totally run out of
well,
time.
well,
I want to
well,
ask you real fast. If black men and women got married, would they then have to kill the children in the womb?
well. I think the issue is right. Like, regardless if black men or women get married or not, is the woman going to be healthy enough to take that pregnancy to term?
Yeah, but then even if you grant it for that, like even if you grant it for a woman who's gonna die, which is very, very rare, and you grant it for assault pregnancies, that makes up there's still nine that's still not 99.5% of what abortions are. Abortions are, oh, I made a mistake, I'm going to get rid of it. And to say that it's like the argument I've seen some people make. It's like, and to be honest, it's not really that big of a deal to me. Like, but the left doesn't really have a good argument against it, because another one that is, if you give it up, if the mum doesn't want it, give it up for adoption. And then it's true, it's a real fact that the left says that, yeah, the chances that the baby's going to get abused in some type of way is going to increase if you put the baby into care. That's 100% true. No one can argue that. It's actually much better for a child to be in a household with abusive parents than to be put in their care home. That's true. However, just because the kid might have a difficult life, does that mean you should shoot it? Like, oh, well, not that you should shoot it, but that you should abort it. It's like saying it with, um, well, you can pick it of anyone. Take a kid from the ghetto. You take a kid from Chicago, O Block, if you'd like. And you go, well, what's the chances that he's going to even live past 16, 17 anyway? at like 3, what's the chances? What's the only thing he's going to end up being is a criminal, going to kill people, probably be a drill rapper. Let's just shoot him now. It's like, well, you don't know what that kid's going to do. That kid might completely save the whole neighborhood. You haven't given him the even chance to even be what he's possibly able to be. It's like you can make that argument for people that are alive. That, well, this person's not going to have a good life, so kill them. Yeah, it's not a good thing, or that it's going to be difficult on the mum. I don't know where he gets that it's more difficult for the Serena Williams nearly died. Like, maybe she did, maybe she had a real traumatic thing, but it's got nothing to do with the fact that she's black. My sister nearly died. Both, two of my sisters nearly died for giving birth, but they didn't. Neither did Williams. And normally, if there's going to be a medical thing, that they can tell. But then, even then, if there's going to be a medical reason, you can do C sections. It's like, yeah, I look at these people now and I think he's definitely taking a check from somewhere, because the topics that he's talking about are all the left wing topics that he will not confirm what Jesse's saying, and it's actually true. That I think that is the number one cause of lack of black people in America. Is, I think it's like 250,000 black people a year never even get the chance to have an existence, never even get the chance to even anything. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, abortion was never really a topic I cared about until I started to not just watch left wing things. It was never a topic I cared about when I was full left wing type of person. But after hearing what, like, right wing people say, yeah, it makes more sense. You don't have the right to end someone's life. Like, that's not a right anybody has. And like I say, outside of it's gonna kill you, and that's like 0.5% of abortions. So even if you granted them, there's millions a year that are nothing to do with coming from assault, or that the mum's gonna die. But yeah, yeah. Let me know your thoughts. Sweet.